So here we'll look at shields for you real quick. So we want high block rate, so we'll put 42 block in here. We want high max life, so we'll put 120 max life in here. We want I just blanked. We want an empty prefix so we can craft on. And we want a weighted sum with attack speed, avoid elemental ailments, and spell suppression. Go 2 and 2 here and 1 here. Then we search, and then we sort. And so he's right, there's not a great one out there right now. But we can maybe make a great one. Yeah, that's what we're looking at, Neo. But there's not one that's great. So we need one with an empty suffix. This one's okay at 3.5 div. .5 on the suppressed spell damage. Like the same one is coming up 3.5 div. This one's okay. No, it's not. I lied. Lies and manipulations. Oh yeah, you can get to 100% spell suppress. There is one shield left out there that's worth crafting on right now. Grab this one. Not perfect, but it's good. Got 18% spell suppress, 10% attack damage. You can craft on avoid ailments, and then you can slam on attack mod. That's a good shield. What if we lower the max life requirement? Look at this one at the top. This one is not good. Yeah, there's one. I need to keep an eye out for these shields and just buy them whenever they pop up. The SI, if you get that shield, you craft on avoid ailments, and then you Crusaders Exalted Slam the attack damage, and that's a really good shield. Now, this one that I made is fucking godly. I think Sneaky has a really, really good shield too. Leveling guide. All right, I think we're ready. I think we're ready to do a video. I do think that we need to move me over a little bit, like there. I think there is better. My poor little injury. Get my notes out. Lokati here. Today we are going to be talking about our Slayer leveling guide. This is a level 1 to early mapping leveling guide. We're going to talk about skills that you choose. We're going to talk about your passive tree. We're going to talk about itemization and some choice leveling items for unique items. We're going to talk about flash decisions, what level you need to be in each act, where you can farm, and then what your ascendancies need to look like through the leveling process. So we'll start off with skills. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to have like a few choices on skills. I would recommend Spectral Throw. It's a really, really strong leveling skill. The automatic return proj guarantees multiple hits, has good clear, has good scaling. It's a really solid skill. If you don't want to run Spectral Throw, Molten Strike and Lightning Strike are also both viable options, as is any strike skill. You can dual wield if you want to dual wield. You can use Cobra Lash if you want to use Cobra Lash. There's a lot of options, but I think these are the 3 best choices with Spectral Throw standing out. You're going to link Spectral Throw to Chance on Bleed and Lesser Multiple Proj while you're in Act 1 on a 3-link. If you use Molten Strike, you want Chance to Bleed and Ruthless. And if you want Lightning Strike, you want Chance to Bleed and Lesser Proj. You're also going to have some additional sockets with gear. You want to put Clarity, Vitality, Enduring Cry, and Molten Shell. I know these are 2 more buttons to press, but you don't have a lot of buttons to press, so go ahead and use them. Enduring Cry is a good source of your endurance charges, as well as a very, very strong heal. And then Molten Shell is your survivability guard shell. Probably Steel Skin would be just as good at this level because you don't have a lot of armor yet, but you can choose guard skill as you would like. For travel skills, pick one, use it. Dash sucks, but it's available. Leap Slam is good. Whirling Blades is good as long as you're using a weapon that matches Whirling Blades, which is daggers, claws, and swords. And then Sniper's Mark is going to be our curse of choice. Now for Act 2, we're hopefully going to be able to find a 4-link. If we find a 4-link, our Spectral Throw is going to be linked to the Lesser Multiple Proj, Fizz to Lightning, and Trinity. If you don't have a 4-link yet, use Spectral Throw, Lesser Multiple Proj, and Fizz to Lightning. Same thing goes for Molten Strike, knock off added damage. If you got a 3-link, Lightning Strike, knock off Trinity. I'll reorder these for you. Knock off Trinity if you don't have a 4-link and just run with elemental damage with attacks. And your additional sockets, you're going to spread around and add Herald of Ice and Herald of Purity. We're really only running Herald of Purity for the additional creatures that it creates that just kind of get in the way and stop enemies from hitting you. Herald of Ice is a damage bonus, though, at this point in time. Travel skills, again, we're using Whirling Blades with faster attacks, so Leap Slam with faster attacks now, and a Frost Blink for some additional instant movement if you need to get around faster. And again, for Curse, we're still using Sniper's Mark. Into Act 3, we're still using the exact same links on our skills. Again, if you have a 3-link, kick off one of your mods there. We are upgrading our Molten Strike to Rage and added fire damage here, and Lightning Strike is the same as it was before. Additional sockets, we drop the Heralds and go for a Determination. for more armor, and Molten Shell for more defenses, and we get rid of Vitality because we're really going to run into some mana issues for Reservation, because we want to have a high enough clarity to help maintain our mana. Mana potions are not fun. We'll have one as a backup, but ideally we'll be able to get our mana back with Leech and clarity. For our travel skills, same thing here. Faster attacks to your favorite one, Frost Blink for an addition, Sniper's Mark for Mark, and then we're going to go ahead and bind Urgent Orders to Enduring Cry so that it's a little bit less annoying to have to use. Act 4, we are running Spectral Throw with greater multiple proj, Fizz to Lightning and Trinity, Molten Strike with elemental damage with attacks, rage, and multi-strike again, and Lightning Strike with Trinity, elemental damage, and greater multiple proj. You could swap out greater multiple proj here on Lightning Strike to returning proj if you wanted better single target. Greater multiple proj is better for clear. And then we're still running Clarity, Determination, and adding a free little Lightning Golem in there. And then we're talking about, or we're adding the same travel skills, Whirling Blaze, faster attacks with Leap Slam, or in addition to that, Frost Blink. Curse is still Sniper's Mark, Enduring Cry with Urgent Orders still here. And then we can add Cast when damage taken to Molten Shell. Now, there are going to be some stat requirements that you're going to need to meet to continue leveling up these skills as you level up. Utilize your gear as a priority to get stats that you need to level up. Utilize your bench crafting to craft strength and int onto your gear so that you can continue leveling up these skills. And as a last resort, you can spend a point here on Beef or here on Wisdom of the Glade in order to get those skills leveled up. Now, once you're into Act 5, there's not going to be a whole lot of changes here. If you're able to get a 5 link, you can add in Ice Bite here, you can add in Greater Multiple Proj here, you can add in Returning Proj here, and then your additional sockets are going to be the same, your travel skills are going to be the same, your curse is the same. You can add Mark on Hit on your curse in Act 4 if you want to stop manually casting it. If you want it for extra clear, though, you'll have to manually cast it, but this will make it so that it works better against bosses. Same thing, once you get into Act 6, Act 7, Act 8, these are all going to be relatively the same skills, and so there's not a lot of changes here. I've just included them so that you can utilize the loadouts button up here, as well as manually selecting the skills down here. And so now we will switch over to our passive trees. Now, at the end of Act 1, you're going to be somewhere between level 12 and level 15. It doesn't matter where you're at, but you're going to travel down through the tree like this. We take these notes here for the increased armor, evasion, and max life. We do want to make sure that we have attack speed, because attack speed is a very good quality of life when you're leveling. We move over here to take more attack speed, as well as some additional leeching, more attack speed and damage, and then more attack speed and damage while leeching. This is probably the best quality of life node in the Slayer tree, period, for leveling. We also move down here to get some accuracy. If you have accuracy on gear, you can take these points away and do whatever you want with them. But if you don't have accuracy on your gear, this is a great place for accuracy in addition to 18% to all elemental resistances. It's a very, very good quality of life node. Now, at the end of Act 2, you're going to be somewhere around level 23, lower potentially if you flew through it. We are taking Fire Mastery for the Fizz conversion, a lot of attack speed in this tree as well. And this fire conversion is what we're mainly after. This is going to allow us to power Trinity on our skills and allow us to do elemental damage, which is not affected by armor reduction versus regular mobs, which is great for clear. Very few mobs in the campaign are going to have any elemental resistances, so getting away from Fizz and getting into an elemental damage will be a huge benefit to you. We're going to move down here and take Graceful Onslaught, giving us a chance to get Onslaught on kill and increases the effective Onslaught. Again, attack speed is a huge benefit to you while you're leveling. It's a great quality of life. And then we move over here to Precise Technique to get the more attack damage that we need to help scale the damage of our build. Now, moving into Act 3, we're going to go ahead and immediately take this attack damage, leached as life, and mana, because we need the mana return. Clarity is starting to kind of lose its value at this point, and you're tired of hitting a mana flask, I'm sure. So we're going to go ahead and help to prop up our mana gain with Leech here. We're going to keep Graceful Assault here, keep Precise Technique here. We're not doing any respecking in our tree for the most part through the leveling process because we want to save those points for the end of the game. And then we got this boring little trek across some dex nodes here so that we can start getting very important block nodes. Block is going to be one of our best defenses, and it's going to massively bolster our recovery with life gained and mana gained when you block. This is a huge, huge, huge node for leveling. Now, once you get down to Act 4, you're going to be around level 39, higher or lower, and we want to pick up Point Blank, and then we want to pick up Testudo with Shield Mastery. Again, 30 life when you block, huge block chance on our shield. This is going to allow us to cap our block chance through the leveling process with a very, very reasonable shield and give us a ton of life recovery. These nodes right here basically make it so nothing is going to kill you outside of bosses. You'll probably be able to just stand inside any size pack in the game all the way up through Act 10 without taking any damage at all or any risk to your life here. They're very, very good nodes. Use shields. I know you want to use a two-hander. Maybe it might speed up your damage a little bit. Don't. Use shields. Act 5, we're going to start picking up Frenzy Charges here, and Frenzy Charge on kill, as well as increased damage per Frenzy Charge, increased damage per Frenzy Charge, and Endurance Charge here. And then more Ellie Res, because it's going to suck because we lose Ellie Res, and we pick up some more Evasion and Armor per Frenzy and Endurance Charge here. So a lot of offensive and defensive nodes mixed here surrounding our Frenzy Charges. And of course, we're going to have Brutal Fervor here. You could go Masterful Form, but I really feel like the Overleech is better overall for you. This is going to make a huge difference in your survivability. But you could go Masterful Form too if you wanted to lean into more Frenzy Charges and more Endurance Charges. This will be the second node you take later on. Now, Act 6, we're going to move up the tree over here and pick up this Leech node. This is going to help to bolster our Leech with our Mana Leech. Again, skills are getting more expensive because they do increase in cost as you level. And then those increases in cost are multiplied by your links. And so you have more links and you have a higher base cost. And so it just costs more. This Instant Leech is going to be a nice benefit to us. I don't know how we lost those points there. This Instant Leech is going to be a nice benefit to us for making sure that we keep our mana topped off and our life topped off. So again, end of Act 6, we're going to be around level 50. We're going to rush to this node right here. Everything else is relatively the same. End of Act 7, we're going to continue up the tree, pick up some more life, pick up another Frenzy Charge. Nothing complicated here. End of Act 8, we're going to pick up some more life down here. And what else did we pick up? That's really it. Not a lot of skill points coming in between Act 7 and Act 8. Maybe you're a little bit further behind. Maybe you don't have the life here at the end of Act 7, but you can be flexible with that. Now, at the end of Act 8, we're going to immediately start farming Blood Aqueduct. And if you're behind in Act 3, you can farm Docks. It's a great place to farm. If you're behind in Act 4, you can farm Dried Lake. That's another great place to farm. There's very few skill point progression through Act 5, 6, and 7 here. You're not going to get a lot of levels in these because you fly through them pretty quick. You will get some passives, though, and those will help with keeping your skill tree up. But on our Blood Aqueduct, we're going to farm this until 64. It is a great way to make sure that the last two acts are smooth and you have a nice transition into early mapping. When we switch from end of Act 8 into our Blood Aqueduct farm, we're going to be picking up life here. We're going to be picking up our Endurance Charge on kill and our increased damage per Endurance Charge here. And that's just going to make our quality of life much, much better. You could also take Marked for Death here if you ever wanted to farm a little bit more. This gives you Culling Strike against marked enemies, which is a big help for high health rares and bosses as well. And then you do get some additional flash charges versus those marked enemies, so that can help as well. Now, for itemization, we want a fast sword with accuracy that has elemental damage and attack speed. We want a shield that has an increased chance to block and maximum life. We want a helm with max life and armor evasion. We want body armor with max life and armor evasion. We want gauntlets with max life and accuracy. You could also add armor evasion here too. We want boots with move speed and max life. Armor and evasion is also good here. We want an amulet with max life and stats on it so we can help hit our stat bonuses. For rings, we want amethyst rings with resistances and max life and accuracy and elemental damage with attacks. So there's a lot of flexibility on your rings here. Then on our belt, we want max life and elemental damage with attack skills. Flask, we want our life flask, mana flask, silver flask, quicksilver flask, granite flask. If you don't need a mana flask anymore, then you can slot in anything else here. A sulfur flask for more damage, a jade flask for more defenses, whatever it is that you would like. Don't sleep on flasks. They're very important layers of both defense and offense that a lot of people kind of let go to the wayside. So don't sleep on your flasks here. Now, if it is not your first character, or if you've got a friend that's helping you out, or if you've got some way to get currency, these are some leveling uniques that can make a big difference. Gold Rim Cap is a great source of resistances. Wanderlust is a very, very early access to move speed, but you'll want to get better boots probably by Act 3 or 4. Blackheart Iron Ring is added chaos damage to attacks at level 1, added physical damage to attacks at level 1, and regeneration of life at level 1, and causing monsters to flee at level 1. This is the best starter ring for any melee build or any strike build. Rui Ward Jade Amulet is the best amulet for any projectile build. We've got strength and dex for our stat requirements. We've got accuracy, rating, and move speed for clear. And then we've got increased projectile damage and speed. Go ahead and anoint Divine Judgment on this if you have the oils or the currency for it. And that will be a great amulet for most of the leveling process. 1,000 Ribbons is probably the best starter robe. Although you could use a tabula, but I don't recommend a tabula. I don't think the extra link is that valuable, the extra 1 or 2 links that you're going to get over using 1,000 Ribbons. And 1,000 Ribbons is a huge amount of life, mana, resistances, energy shield, evasion, damage. Like, it's just a great starter robe. Loctaniel Caress gives us a huge amount of attack speed, but I think Ondar's Clasp is a little bit better because it does give us lightning damage to attacks and a much larger attack speed while we're full on life, which should be most of the time. Darkness and Throne Stygian Vice is the best leveling unique in the game because you get to have nonsense like this. So if you've got a Darkness Enthroned with 87%, 95%, 100% increased effective Abyss Jewels, and you've got 2 of these jewels, that is up to 40 strength and intelligence, up to an average of 632 elemental damage per swing with your attacks, and up to 15, 16% move speed if you killed recently. These jewels might be hard to come by. They could be a little bit pricey. You don't have to get this exact one. There's a lot of variations of this that you can do. But a Stygian Vice with some good low-level Abyss Jewels is phenomenal. For weapons, Redbeak is the best starter sword, followed by either Ewer's Mirage or Lakushu's Blade. I think Ewer's Mirage is better. Ormvox is also a really solid choice if you're having trouble hitting your Ellie resistances. And then once you do your Tier 9 Blood Aqueduct farm, buy a Rebuke of the Vol and use it for a very, very, very long time. It's a phenomenal blade. And then your flasks right down here. Now, as we said in your ascendancies, you're going to be able to get your first ascendancy around the end of Act 3. No, I think you need to be at the end of Act 4. Realistically. Yeah, you need to be at the end of Act 4 to get your first ascendancy. I recommend Brutal Fervor. You could go Masterful Form, whatever it is you prefer. And then around the end of Act 7, you will have completed everything necessary to get your next one, and you're going to get the other one that you didn't get. Now, once you have completed everything, you're on your Blood Aqueduct farm. If you want to, you can go back and get Bane of Legends. And then in the end of the game, you're going to be getting Headsman. This is the Slayer trio. It is Masterful Form, Brutal Fervor, and Headsman. There's almost no reason to take any other set of these ascendancy notes down here. Now, if you have any questions on the leveling guide, leave them down below. If you have any suggestions, let me know. This is just kind of a basic leveling guide for Slayer. I really feel like, in general, if you want to play a non-caster build, Slayer is the best ascendancy. And so for 3.25, Slayer is king. Enjoy your leveling, and thank you very much for watching. Peace. All right, we back. Oh. Neo, what are you? 700 total DPS? You should just be using a Vol Blade. The Vol Blade is 1,000 DPS for one cast. The only reason you should use a different weapon than Vol Blade is if you're like 700 plus elemental DPS. Sai, those rings in the high budget build would cost mirrors, and they don't exist yet. The high budget build is just bait. The high budget build is there just to give people. Wait, for which build? I forget. Which build are you doing, Sai? I mean, even in the Flicker Strike build, the high budget ring is crazy. Yeah, I need to. At some point, I'm going to make a build in between the mid and the high, because I mean, really, if you take away Precursor's Emblem, you go from 200 million DPS to 40 million DPS. If you take away the Crazy Ring, you lose 160 million DPS. So the Crazy Ring, not like that ring's gonna happen. Like, someone will find it, but it'll be mirrors. But I mean, a really good taming ring still puts you at 70 million DPS. And so you can follow the high budget build. Just ignore the precursors. That's a trap ring. I just threw that in there to say, like, hey, this is what the build can do. 70 mil DPS is ridiculously high. More than enough for everything. Let me get this video. Highlighted. Publish that shit. All right, now we gotta figure out this bleed bow today. Oh, that's like a 4-hour video. So the easiest way is to use the spreadsheet that I've already made. That is the easiest way. So go to my spreadsheet and let me know when you have it open. Up in here, hit new loadout, and then hit whatever your character's name is. Hit save. And then go to that loadout. I'm going to go to import. And import passive trees and items and skills. And then go to configuration and choose the configuration for the budget that you're closest to, which is going to be mid. And then go to items and check mark any flasks that you're using. Like you can uncheck or check tincture, so you can see what you're doing during tincture and what you're doing outside of tincture. And that's the easiest way. It's not foolproof, but it's the easiest way. This is assuming that you have all of the items that are necessary for that budget. Yep. Oh no, you could do that, but what is the cost on fortify on melee hits? I feel like that's probably, I haven't even looked at the cost on that. That is a good plan. side, you have to go to the configuration page and choose your budget. Melee hits fortify is only on daggers. So you'd have to use a dagger to do that. Now you could buy a find, craft, or buy a high DPS dagger and then run melee hits fortify. That is a really good option. But that is a dagger thing. Oh shit. Come on, don't be AFK. Don't be AFK. Don't be AFK. Fucking A. I just got a godly lethal pride for the bow build. Absolutely godly. Charles, welcome back. All right, Sai. What is your account's name? Is it the Store Spruder? As we go, passive trees, items and jewels. Oh, I forgot one thing. I did forget to tell you one thing. So, on your tree. Okay, no, we're not running. Oh no, you're good there. You're good there. All right, so Flicker Strike. You're at 10 million DPS. 10 mil. Configuration mid budget, and then your character. Yeah, the shield is legit. Charles, fucking Psy over here got a Hinakora's lock on a T6 King's March mapper. Yeah, no, we're in Wraeclast. No. That is good quality of life, though. Life up here. So at 37. No, no, no. Hold on. That dude is not RMT. So he's on my friends list. He plays like 16 hours a day because I'm here. All he does is Alkin Go map. He ran 280 maps yesterday. He bought 280 maps and ran all 280. Because I was suspicious. But nah, he's just like no life in it. Just blasting. Rebuke of the Ball is a DPS loss to his current weapon. His current weapon's better than Rebuke. He's got a 735 DPS weapon. 735 LE DPS. Probably. No one cares about anger. Like of all the alls, that's probably one of the least valuable ones. No, Fizz DPS is not useless. It's just not strong. But you focus on LE DPS. That's the most important thing. Chaos DPS is also very unvaluable. Basically, if you can get a 700 LE DPS sword with good attack speed and crit, it's better than a Vol Blade. But until you can get a 700 LE DPS sword with good attack speed and crit, then you should use the Vol Blade. And then if it's over 700, like 730, 740, 750, then you don't need as much attack speed, you don't need as much crit. Oh yeah, Sai, your sword is good. I mean, it could be better, but it's good. It can always be better. And no matter how good you think your sword is, it could be better. Like here, I'll show you what. So like you're at 10 million DPS right now. You want to see what like an end game sword does? This is like if you wanted the most damage available in the game. Like this is what a sword could get to. That's a good sword. It's a solid sword. Can't roll attack speed while fortified? Is that not a hunter mod? Is that a creature mod? There we go. Is there a better one? Probably. So like this would be a crazy sword. That's a 40 DPS quality sword. Yeah. You think the base quality might be too low? Quality doesn't affect us that much. Like you can crank up the quality to 30, but quality only affects the fizz damage. So it's like 100k DPS. But this sword is 4 million more DPS than you. So 40% more DPS than your current sword. But 32%, or sorry, 42% increased attack speed. Oh, sorry. Your hit chance, you need to fix your hit chance to use the sword. 1,000 plus 1,000 to accuracy rating. There. If you fixed your DPS, this sword would double your damage. If you fixed your accuracy. And of course, there's other options. You could do this with crit modifiers and a crit enchant on it. Like there's other ways you could do this. But like, that's a sword. Lots of options out there. Oh, it doesn't exist. I can find you the closest one to it, but you're not going to be able to, like, the way you find this, look for, and it doesn't have to be a sword. There's not going to be a lot of good swords out here because people aren't making swords. But you just search one-handed melee weapon and you sort by DPS, and then you sort by LE DPS. And so, like, this claw, for example, is 80 div. And it's only a 2.5 million up increased damage versus this foil. And this is the best claw that's available for sale. This is the best, highest DPS elemental weapon that's available for sale right now. And it doesn't hold a candle to the sword. Bad Dad Streams. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, your sword is fine for now. Yep. Also, your gloves are actually really good. So your biggest upgrade is going to be gloves. Biggest upgrade is going to be gloves. Because if you got some high budget gloves, like these, that's a DPS jump. So you're currently using this Corsair sword, right? Yeah. So you go from your gloves, which are these. You're doing 11 mil DPS to some spiked gloves. That's a 40% damage increase. So these are the gloves you're looking for. And these gloves exist. I don't know what they're priced at. Those are probably like 120 div gloves, like those in particular. But you're looking for maximum frenzy charges on gloves. Cat. Aspect of the cat on it. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of crafting you could do to make these gloves good. Now let's just look for a double frenzy charge gloves, because I mean that's really what we're looking for, is double frenzy charge gloves. And they don't exist right now. So you would have to buy a bunch of really good gloves and then double corrupt them and hope that you land the frenzy charges. So like you would buy some like 8 div gloves like this, or some 8 div gloves like this. You would buy like these kind of gloves with aspect of the cat, maximum frenzy charges, non-ball strike targets an additional enemy, and ideally you would do 2 additional enemies. And these get in the 18 div range. And obviously you need attack speed on here, which there's some. So these are like 18 div gloves. And if you can get one with an open prefix, you can craft on damage while leeching. But even like something like this is an 18 div glove that you could double corrupt and pray for. But even these are 1.3 million DPS upgrade over what you currently have. Oh, sorry, dude. I didn't mean to actually whisper you. I'm not buying your gloves. Like these are a significant damage increase. And especially if you pick, have you critical strike recently? Because you obviously have. Use these for an example. So we add these bramble caresses in here. And so if you bought the bramble caress, and then you have crit recently, so you can go from slink gloves, which I think is what you're using, at 11.3, to bramble caress at 13.2. No, I don't think you can elevate +1 frenzy. Can you elevate maximum frenzy charges PoE? They would be a good upgrade for you. Those may not, those in particular may not be the best ones to spend the money on, but gloves would be your biggest upgrade from a damage perspective. Let's see here. Total attack speed. Depends on how much money you want to spend. But like this one right here, this is legit. This 45% increased attack and cast speed while focused. That's a boss killer right there. Those are good, but those are 40 div. I would say I think but there's no life on these. Yo, Yuna, no. 12 hours a day is like a conservative estimate of how much I stream. It's usually way worse. It's usually way worse. So you don't really want to give up all of your life for DPS gloves. But man, the ones with life rolls are pricey. Yuna, thank you for the follow. I mean, these. So, like, these are good. Yeah, these Bramble Caress gloves, these are good. They're not perfect, but they're good. You can probably get a better glove by only doing the one Vol Strike, which is still great. Let's see what we can get on like a 20 div budget. There's two choices. There's the two Vol Strike ones here, and then there's the one Vol Strike ones here for 14 div. And at this budget difference, I would probably take the two Vol Strike ones for 18 div. That seems like the best choice. They are a huge damage upgrade for you. But you do lose a little bit of life, and you're already very squish on the life side of things. So you really need a bigger helm. So if you upgrade the gloves, you need to buy a helm that's got like 150 life. I got my bow, I got my quiver, I got my gloves, I got my armor, I got my belt, got my Lethal Pride. You can also try to get lucky and craft them yourself. Do you mind walking me through how Regex works for selling maps in bulk? It's still pretty new to the game, and I like the farm strategy, but I'm not 100% sure how to sell them. So, the farm strategy works without selling the maps. You can easily make 10 div an hour without selling the maps. Not selling the maps is an easy 10 div an hour. Selling the maps is just more. If you don't want to deal with regexing and TFTing and trading people and talking to people, then go to wealthyexile.com, log in, select 8 mod maps, select 8 mod maps. Right here, you type in 8, type in maps. 8 mod maps. Okay. Select 8 mod maps, you fill your tab, and you just hit sell, and then you pick like a percentage that you want to sell them at. And then all you do, like you can start off at 100, and then you can go down to 95 and 90 and 85 until they sell. And so like here, we'll do this because I don't give two shits about these maps in general. Well, hold on. I want my silos. I want my silos that I'm willing to run. We'll do this for explanations. Damn it, I need like a thing open that has my regex saved to it. All of my fucking browsers are the wrong. There we go. Yo, I don't know how my computer handles all of this. Yeah, I was just talking about this the other day, Dustin, and my quote was 90% of the players in the game have not completed the Atlas, and people didn't believe me. But I said 90% of the players in this game have never completed the Atlas. I always err on the side of correctness. Oh yeah, I know you can save it in Awaken PoE trade, but like I'm lazy, and that's another step beyond what I'm already doing. Oh yeah, Charles, but the ratio is probably the same. Like the type of players that play outside of Steam are different. No, Dustin, you can play outside of Steam on PC. There's just a Path of Exile loader on PC. He's not talking about console. There's a Path of Exile loader outside of Steam. But the type of players on the Path of Exile loader are probably the same type of players on Steam, so the ratio probably doesn't change. All right, back to our wealthy exile situation here. Now let me zone out so it updates. All right, so we'll see. And I'll run these down to like 80%. See if they sell. Bulk only. And then list items for trade. And map listing created. I mean, you could be right, but there's a... Oh, okay, we can DC. I like DCing. You could be right, Charles, but I mean, there's no way to actively measure that. That I know of. And this will show your trade listings. I guess I need to pull my... Technically speaking, I need to pull my P17s out of that. Let's try listing it at 75%. And then your listings will just stay up here until someone buys it. And then there's a ton of trade listings all the time. No, actually, I have no problem with competing to make money. And there are a lot of content creators that refuse to share their farming methods because they have that mentality. I could care less. Like if my farming strategy like starts to be less functional, I just do a different farming strategy. Those are some decent boots. They're missing so much energy shield though. But they're decent. That plus 42 to evasion needs to be plus percent to evasion and energy shield. And that 28 life needs to be like 90. But they're decent. I mean, you lose movement speed and you lose a ton of life. I don't know that they're any better. I mean, you pick up int and that's good, and you pick up mana and that's good. So you lose a lot of defenses for different defenses and some mana. I mean, like you could just buy way better boots for very, very cheap. Bro, you almost spell suppress capped is the same at every level of spell suppression. 74% spell suppress is just as good as 99% spell suppress. 50% spell suppress is just as good as 99% spell suppress. The only reason spell suppression exists is so you don't get one shot by a spell. If you don't have another layer that prevents the one shot, then all spell suppression is worthless. Like on the Slayer, we have endurance charges. And so 9, 10 endurance charges, that stops you from getting one shot by a spell. And then spell suppression just becomes a recovery benefit. But if you're... Yeah. But if you don't... So, like, there's two ways to do spell suppression. Either spell suppression is your defense against spells, and it has to be capped. Or something else is your defense against spells, and you're just running enough spell suppression to assist in recovery. Like those are the two ways you can go. Getting a lot of weird items all of a sudden selling today. Alright, so for our Slayer, our bulk maps are not selling on Wealthy Exile. Let's get... I want to see what they sell for on Wealthy Exile. But I don't want to bottom them out too hard. You could try and craft a new head. Helms are tough on the craft side. They're like it's expensive to make a really good helm. It's cheap to make a really average helm. Yeah, Haunted Bassinet's still the best base. How many maps do I have here? These stacked up right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times 24 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 343. So we're gonna try a budget post on TFT if we have better luck over here. What is it? 343 remaining. We'll call it 10 div at 4C each. That's about 5C. gonna go random selection at 8C each, regex 9C, regex quantum pack size 11C. We'll see if we get hits on that. Apparently, Defiled Cathedral is popular. This guy just posted way lower price than I did. Yeet. Apparently, map prices are going down, yo. You got a Mage Blood, Charles? Deafening Essence of Greed is a solid choice. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Apothecaries. Sir Rido, welcome. God damn, why do I have so many windows open that are the wrong? This is the only problem with posting farming strategies, is the market changes so much that it's hard to. Well, let's just look at what one div of each of them is. One div. And then